Today I'll be talking to you about every book I bought so far this year. Hi, I'm Sarah and welcome to CoreMoodz. Today I'll be doing my first and my biggest birthday haul. My birthday is at the very end of June and I thought let me just do a haul. I just thrift and buy secondhand books most of the times because I have an amazing library and they have like a vast digital collection, audiobooks and ebooks, and I'm subscribed to Everand. So usually I just find the book that I need there or I read something else because I have like a lot of books on my TBR. When I gathered all the books that I bought this year, I thought, oh, I think I bought more books than I thought. So let's go through the books that I bought. I'm gonna start with the books that I have not read and that I've bought at the store at full price. The first book is Weaving Shop by Heba Al-Wasti, and I read this book. I got it signed because the author came to a city near me. She did an interview and I got this book signed, so that was really fun. It's a beautiful cover. I love like this dark burgundy purplish color. And this book is basically about, it's a gothic fantasy about a girl that sees ghosts that has to make a deal with the devil, where a devil-like entity to save her brother, and then things escalate. There's a mystery. It's a really fun book to read. The second book is Sublimation by Isabel J. Kim. This book I mentioned in the video that I made about my most anticipated new horror releases. It's a sci-fi horror book. Synopsis, I think, is when you immigrate, a version of yourself gets left behind and a new version or half of you or a copy, I have no idea, gets to go to the other place and live out her life in this situation. And I think this story starts when the version that got to live the life in the other country comes back. I'm not sure what the horror element is. Are they gonna fight? Is there some kind of weird merge situation? I don't know. This is a book that I've been really anticipating and I have good feeling about this. So this book, Silence is My Mother Tongue by Sulaiman Adonia. This book, I was talking to someone I body read with. I had mentioned that I don't think I've ever read from an author from Eritrea. And she mentioned that this is a book that she enjoyed and that she recommends. I got it when I saw it. So yeah, Silence is My Mother Tongue. I don't even know what the story is about. That's how little research I do when I read. So the next book that I bought is Sorrowland by River Solomon. I've read almost everything by River Solomon. This is the only book that I have not read from them. And when I saw it in the store, I thought I want a version because I really want to read it annotated because River Solomon, their books are very intense. The next book that I bought is The Seven Moons of Mali Almeida by Shihan Karunalitaka. This book is a Booker Prize winner for 2022. I have no idea what the story is about. I heard this book described in a variety of different ways. Some people say it's a mystery, some people say it's dark. So I don't know what it's about, but I'm really interested and I really want to read it. So this book, 10 minutes, 38 seconds in the Strange World by Elif Shafak. This book, a lot of people that like thrillers talk about this. So I don't know if this is a thriller or a crime fiction book. Elif Shafak, I've heard of this name. I think it's a Turkish author and it says shortlisted for the Booker Prize in 2019. I think the story is there's a woman, something happens, and in the 10 minutes and 38 seconds that she is dying, she is recalling her entire life, or I'm not sure. I don't know if there's a speculative element or if it's just her reliving her life. So I don't know why it's a thriller. So I'm confused, but I'm very intrigued. The next book is Erasure by Percival Everett. This author I've heard of when his book James came out. I think that's a book that has been in the past couple of years going around and people have been enjoying it and loving it and putting it on their best of books lists. I think it's an exploration of a character that is mentioned in another book series. So I was really intrigued when it came to this author. And this author has this book and there's also another book. I don't remember what the name is. I think Telephone. I'm pretty sure that the other book that they have, if it's Telephone, if I'm right, is the book that I'm going to body read with the book club I read with in the fall. But when I saw this, I just had the urge to pick it up, especially because a lot of people really love this book from this author. So I just thought, let me just start with this book. So the next book I bought is The Gilda Stories by Joelle Gomez. And this cover I really love. Apparently it's a part of this collection that they are doing about weird girl horror or something, or I don't even know if it's weird girl horror or just weird girl fiction, but I really love the cover and I really want to read this book ASAP, but I have been waiting for a really long time because a lot of people told me it's very intense and it's very hard to read. So I've always waited, but I think I want to pick it up. So this book is on my summer TBR. It's Theft by Abdurazak Gurna, and this Tanzanian author has been everywhere and everyone loves this book from them. And it's like, I think it's their 2026 release. So I just thought, let me see if I want to read more books by him. And the next book that I want to talk about is The Witch by Marie Ndaye. And Marie Ndaye is a French Senegalese author, and the French love her books. And I think her books have only been translated in the last few years. So if I'm correct, this is an older book that was released in the 90s, but I was really excited to pick it up just to hear that a lot of people hate it. So I'm still gonna read it. I'm still gonna review it. I'm still gonna try to understand why people hate this book, but I'm very intrigued. And the last book that I bought at full price is Ana Paula Maia, On Earth as It Is Beneath. And this book is written by a Brazilian author. It's translated from the Portuguese. It's a horror, and this author is like one of the biggest authors in Brazil. I've been on a journey to find translated horror, so this book was recommended a lot. It has like a very interesting cover. It was shortlisted for the International Booker Prize. I don't know what the synopsis is, but I'm really interested. It's a horror, it's Portuguese. I just want to know what horror in Brazil looks like. So I'm very intrigued. Also, this press, Charcoal Press, I heard they're a press that published really interesting books, so I'm gonna check them out. So the next bunch of books are books that I bought from secondhand shops, I thrifted, I got from friends, or found at the little library in my neighborhood. First of all, A Brief History of 7 Killings by Marlon James. I really love this book from this author. What is it called? Red Wolf, Black Leopard. I'm not sure if that's the title. Red Wolf, Black Leopard. So I really love that book, but it was very intense and gory, and he didn't leave any stone unturned. The plot is fast moving, the prose, I really loved his writing, but because the third book has not come out, I've been hesitant to read the second book in that series. But when I saw his name, Marlon James, I didn't even know about this book. Apparently this is historical fiction, while the other one that I just mentioned was fantasy horror. This book caught my attention, and he has a new book coming out this year. René Audier has this duology, The Rose and the Dagger and The Wrath and the Dawn, and I've heard a lot about these books, and I've never read from René Audier. So when I saw these for $5, I was like, let me just pick them up and just read them. Seem interesting. Apparently it's like a 1001 Night retelling. I really loved that story. I was really intrigued to read it. I'm not sure if it's YA. I hope it's not, but we shall see. I have Born by Jeff Vandermeer. I'm really interested about this book. The only Vandermeer I've ever read is the first book in the Annihilation series. But Born, the second book in this series, something Space Cowboys or something, or Dead Cowboys, I have no idea. That book a lot of people talk about. So I was like, I really want to read the first book so I can read the second book and see what the hype is about. So when I bought Born, I got this for free, and the title is Axioms and by Lindsay Ellis. I have no idea what this is about. I got it for free, but I just thought sci-fi, what could go wrong? So I'm just gonna try to read this someday. The next 3 books are books I've read. When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. I love Nat Cassidy. I love this book. This is a creative take on this kind of story. It's a story about a woman that finds a little boy. This little boy is terrified and running from something, and then all of a sudden she and the boy are running together because she's going to protect this boy from whatever is haunting him. I love this book. I didn't predict anything. You hit the ground running and you don't even know what's possible or impossible in this world. Such a creative book. I definitely recommend it. So I really wanted to have a physical copy. This book, Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart, I read when I was reading modern classics, and I really loved it. I really loved this book, and I didn't even know at the time that this book is a part of a series. So I wanted a physical version because I wanted to reread this book so that I can read the second and third book, and just now knowing that this is not the beginning and end of this story, but there is like 3 books, so there's more to it. This book was just an impulsive buy. This book was adapted into the movie with the same title, Before I Fall, and I really liked the movie when I watched it, but I had like a lot of questions at the time. So when I saw this film for like €2, I thought, oh, let me just pick it up. Let me see if there's anything that I missed in the movie or they didn't add that gives answers or something. So Isabel Allende is an author that I heard a lot about, and I've never read from her. So I just wanted to pick up something by her and read, and those were for like €1 each. The first one was A Long Petal of the Sea, and the second one is Violetta. And this is a very renowned author, and I'm very excited to pick up these 2 books. So a couple of years ago, this book was very much controversial in South Korea. Kim Ji-young, born 1982 by Cho Nam-ju. And this book is such an interesting book because not just because of the story, because of the writing, because how the focus is on this main character. The plot is interesting, what's going on. is interesting, the social critique, but also the social reaction in the South Korean society has been in the last years very interesting, especially surrounding this book. K-pop idols, female K-pop idols have been cancelled just for mentioning this book or reading this book or carrying this book. So I just feel like there's something very interesting when a book has like this intense reaction, when this book is just about an experience of a woman born in 1982 and what her life looks like as a woman in Korea today. Also, the back of the book, very interesting, because it has like the name of the main character, Kim Ji-young, and then it has like a lot of different opinions or thoughts of other people. So it's like, Kim Ji-young is a girl born to a mother whose in-laws wanted a boy. Kim Ji-young is a sister made to share a room while her brother gets one of his own. Kim Ji-young is a daughter whose father blames her when she is harassed late at night. Kim Ji-young is depressed. Kim Ji-young is mad. Kim Ji-young is every woman. So it has like a lot of those kind of sentences. I love this book and I think it's very interesting and I think everyone should read it. So probably everyone has read it because it says the 1 million copy international seller. So you've probably at least heard of this book. So John Steinbeck of Mice and Men. I really wanted to read East Eden by this author, but then all of a sudden started saying, oh, Of Mice and Men is such a problematic book. So I was like, problematic book. Let me just read and see what the fuss is about, because this is like an old book and I think the author is dead. So I was like, what happened that all of a sudden there's now a controversy? So I just wanted to read the source material to understand what the situation is. So the next book is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. This book was really popular a couple of years ago. And there was also a TV show. I think Brie Larson plays the main character. And it's about a woman. I think she is, I'm pretty sure it's like in the 60s and she has I think she has a master's and she was pursuing her PhD, but then she got in a relationship and got pregnant. And at the time, you can't have a child out of wedlock. She loses her job and she has to creatively think of a way to earn money. And all of a sudden, she's on this TV show cooking. And then she starts to integrate her chemistry knowledge into the cooking show. So I was like, that could be very interesting. Yeah, very excited to pick it up. I saw this book, Sayaka Murata's Earthlings. I read from this author, Convenience Store Woman, and I really love that book. And everyone has been saying that Earthlings is like it's an extreme book. It's like, how can they write something like this? Didn't expect this after a Convenience Store Woman. So I was like, I think I'm gonna like it. So I immediately picked it up when I saw it at the thrift store. They almost never have horror. So when I saw this book, I was like, I have to pick it up immediately. The next book is Transcendent Kingdom by Yagyasi. And I read the other book by this author. Don't remember the name, but I really want to read this one. Yeah, and all I know is that they interject science and religion, tradition, culture. I think it's a Nigerian author, I'm not sure, but I really wanted to read this book. So I was happy when I saw it for a really cheap price. I found these 3 books in the Gilded Ones series by Namina Forna. Beautiful, gorgeous covers. YA is really hard for me because there are some YA series that I like. And if I go into a book knowing it's YA, then I can adjust my expectations. But it's really hard to find something that I love, that meets what I like nowadays. But those covers were amazing. And it was like for 10 euros, all 3 books. So I just bought them. So I found these 2 books by Akweke Emezi, Pet and Bitter. They're a part of the same series. I think Bitter is a prequel. I read Pet really, I think years ago, around the time it came out. And I haven't read Bitter yet, but it's on my TBR. Akweke Emezi is an amazing author. Pet was such a sad, dark book for it being middle grade, but I really loved it. It's about a non-binary main character, and there's a mystery, there are questions, and the revelations are heartbreaking, but it's an amazing book. The next book is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, and this book, a lot of people were talking about it when it came out. People were really hyped and anticipating the second book. Some people were very disappointed by the second book. Some people loved the second book and picked up the third book, but I think a lot of people that I know DNF'd the second book and never read the third book. But there's going to be a movie adaptation coming out in January, so I wanted to read this book so that I can watch the movie in January. There's been a lot of controversy about the casting, but I think I'm just gonna give it a chance and see what I think of it. The next series is the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. The books are Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess. I read those 3 books. I made a video. I really like this series, so check the video out if you're interested. So last year, I read The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, and I really liked it. I made a video, and I have been waiting to read this. I found the entire series, but I've been waiting to read them until the second movie comes out. But as far as I know, there has been no news, so I don't even know if the second movie will be made. So I might have to read the books before the movies come out, because I really want to know what happens in the story. The first book was very interesting, and I really loved it. It was like a cozy, fun mystery with very lovable older characters. So I'm a little disappointed that they didn't just have a second movie ready, or even news that the project is greenlit. A little bit disappointed, but I might just vlog me reading all three of them at one go, but we shall see. So the next series is the Sleeping Giants series by Sylvain Neuvel, and I've read from this author before. I read The Test. It's such an interesting sci-fi novella, and I read Sleeping Giants, the first book in this series. The second book is Waking Gods, and the third book is Only Human. The first book was already very dark, very gory, very interesting. So even though I don't really remember this book, I want to reread it and then read the second and third book, because it was such an interesting concept. I think it was about a girl finds a mechanic hand, a huge giant hand, a sign that aliens have been on Earth without humanity even knowing. Years later, she's leading a team to research. And the next book that I bought for €5 at the secondhand bookshop is Middle Game by Shannon Maguire. I really love this book. I know a lot of people loved it at the time or don't love it anymore. I really like this weird, alchemical, odd concept that this author has been using throughout this series. I haven't read the second, third, or fourth books. I might read them, but right now I just wanted a physical book so that I can reread this, annotate this, and just see what I think of the story and decide if I want to continue. But I really love this book, and in my mind, it's a standalone. The next series is the Southern Reach trilogy, and these three books are by Jeff Vandermeer. There's a movie about, I think, the first book, and it's a very interesting, weird sci-fi book and movie. I read the first book and I watched the movie, but at the time I didn't know it was a series, and I think I remember more of the movie than I do of the books. So when I saw these three books, I just wanted to pick them up, and I'm going to reread the first book and then read the second and third book. The next book is Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky, and I know someone who really liked this book, who loved the way this book was written, and I'm just intrigued because apparently the religion is important. For some reason, I've been reading a lot of religion-related books. I think it's because of The Sparrow. I think that book did something, unlocked something where horror and religion crossed paths in my mind. Very interested, even though I think it's a little bit of an older book. I think a lot of people read this book years ago. Speaking of old books, Laini Taylor is an author that a lot of people talk about. The Diviners, the first book I think I read from her, if she's the author that wrote it. But I think she wrote The Diviners. And while I really like The Diviners, I heard really bad things about how that series continues. So I've been hesitant to continue and finish it. In the meanwhile, I got those three books for €5. So that was a deal. I think all of the books that I'm talking about and showing, I don't think I spent more than €100 for all the secondhand or thrifted books that I'm showing in this video. I had to do a lot of digging, but I found really good deals. Yeah, so I don't even know which one of these is the first book and which one is the second and third. So what is the name of the series? The Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. The covers look really pretty. I love a little bit of a neon art. So yeah, very excited. I don't even know what the story is about. I also found My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. And Stephen Graham Jones is an author. I read a lot of his novellas, and I read The Only Good Indians. I really liked The Only Good Indians, and I loved a lot of his novellas. But overall, especially with The Only Good Indians, there were sections where his writing was a little bit tough for me to imagine, and also there's something about his writing that doesn't work for me, and I have the same thing with Stephen King. But this author, I don't know if I'm not a fan of slashers, so I didn't read this trilogy, and I also didn't read I Was a Teenage Slasher, but I'm a little bit curious, and especially because there's gonna be a second book in the Only Good Indians series. So I just thought, let me just pick up this book and re-familiarize myself with his writing, even though I think this one is a little bit more of a fast-paced story. I think the main character I don't think it's a YA. I think the main character is a teenager, maybe in college. I have no idea. The Millennium series. This is one of the bigger thriller, mystery, crime series in Europe, I think. And especially, I think Scandinavian crime fiction is really popular. And I've read, I think, the first book when the movie came out, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, but I never read the entire trilogy. I'm really curious about this main character because I really loved her, and I thought the movie with Rooney Mara, I really love that movie, and I've never watched the original movies, so I just wanted to read the books, watch the original movies. I think I have this thing where I need to read the book before I watch a movie, or my brain can't accept the story. If there's no book, then it doesn't matter. But if there's a book, I need to read it because I need to understand. So Let the Right One In. This also is a book that I heard about from a booktuber that I really love, and she loves this book, and I only knew about the movie, and I think the movie is called Let Me In. I never watched it, and I heard that it's really good. A lot of people I know love the movie, so she read the book, loved the movie, and has been talking about it for a really long time. So when I saw this, I just thought, let me just pick it up. I think it's a vampire story, I'm not sure. Speaking of Marlon Janes, I bought the second book, Moon Witch Spider King, in hopes that maybe I can manifest a third book, announcement or some kind of information, a little bit of movement in communicating what's going on with the third book. I think I might start rereading the first book and then reading the second book next year, but the author's coming out with a new book this year, so it's possible that maybe early next year is going to be some kind of announcement about the next book. So the next book is If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin, and I read this before I watched the movie. I love the story, even though it's devastating and heartbreaking, and I just wanted a physical version. I think I'm gonna try to get more of this author's books because I really love the way he thinks and the way he philosophizes, and just the concepts and the ideas, and the way he views humanity and injustices, the way he picks up on things that are very interesting. And I really love his fiction, but I also want to buy, I think, his non-fiction books. And the next books are both by Janice Hallett, The Appeal and The Typhoid Code. And those two books, I have no idea what it's about. I think The Appeal is about something happens to someone's child, I think, and they need money. So then a community raises money, but then there are questions about why this money is being raised, what the issue is, and there's some kind of murder. So I think it's very interesting. I hope I'm not confusing it with another book, but I think whatever I've heard of this book seemed interesting to me. It's a mystery, and I need a couple of mysteries to read. So never read from Janice Hallett before, but she seems like a lot of people's favorite. And the second one is The Typhoid Code. And this one, a lot of people also mentioned that it's very interesting and very creative mystery. So I just wanted to add it to my TBR. I found Anatomy, a Love Story, and Immortality, a Love Story by Sana Schwartz. And these books, I really love these weird images on the covers. I have no idea what the story is about. I think it's Victorian, about a woman trying to be a doctor or a surgeon, and she's denied access, and then she goes on a hunt for corpses so she can practice. I think that's what this is, but I don't know what the mood is. Is it more literary fiction? Is it more horror? I have no idea. And it says a love story. So who is this love story between? I don't know, but I'm just very interested. So I'm going to read these books. Also found this book. I'm not going to show the cover because apparently the cover was made using AI, but it's Shy Girl by Mia Ballard. And I don't know if that's true about the cover. The author has been in a controversy surrounding the use of AI on the cover and also in the book. Specifically, I think she said that someone who helped her edit used some kind of AI tool in early stages. She never caught on to it. And I think when it comes to self-published books, indie books, there's a chance that mistakes will be made and that the quality control is not there because there's less resources. Even though I don't think AI use is permissible in this kind of situations, I just don't understand how this book was picked up by a big imprint and published traditionally, and no one checked, no one looked at it, no one read it and thought, hey, this sounds like AI. So there were no questions. And that to me shows that there's a problem with the way traditional publisher presses are picking up indie or self-published books and then basically copy-pasting and just republishing them. I understand why authors would choose to do that because there's more access, more resources, more eyes on your book. But I just hoped that at one point someone would look at this book, an editor that is experienced, that knows how to pick up on these kind of things. And I don't know if it's like a sign of publishing being behind or that they didn't even know to ask these kind of questions to themselves. But I just don't understand if random people and the reviewers can pick up on the fact that there are very much AI language in this book. Then how is it possible that the editor reading this book, the author who wrote this, didn't pick up on this on time for the traditional published version? At least I got it secondhand for €2, and the reason I decided to get it was there was a blurb from an author that I really love and respect, and I was a little bit the blurb says that this book is the perfect book for horror readers. So I don't know if this author read this book and if they picked up on the AI aspect or if they didn't, and I don't even know what the story is. So it's like I just wanted to read it just to know what this situation is about, what this story is about, what language, how does does the writing look like? I was very curious. So I just wanted, when I saw it, I thought, let me just pick it up and read it. I'm very disappointed because it's a book that I've been really looking forward to picking up, and then all of the AI stuff came to light. I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna think about what I feel about this once my thoughts settled and once I read the book. I really love George R.R. Martin, and I have not read Fire and Blood, so I bought this book. This has been presented to me more as a history of the world than a fantasy story. After watching the first and second season, I thought, let me just read it so that at least I know the background stuff about the characters now that I'm familiar with the structure of the story. I'm very interested. So I completely forgot. But while I was talking about the other book, Fire and Blood by George R. Martin, my brother sent these books to me and said that I have to read all of the books if I'm going to read one of the books. So because I've only read, I think, the first book. I think at the time, the first season of Game of Thrones was coming out, so I just read the first book. But I never continued. I want to read the entire series. So I think I'm going to do that, but I think I'm going to make it a 2027, 2028 project. I'm in no hurry, and I really love this version. It's really pretty. This is every book I bought in the last 6 months and a couple of birthday presents. I don't think I buy a lot of books, but seeing all these books in one go is a little bit daunting. I might buy a new bookcase in my living room, and I might film the process of putting it together and just putting these books in the new bookcase. And I might just go through my bookcase and see if I can reorganize some stuff and just make it look a little more pretty. But I'm not going to be able to do that in the upcoming weeks. I'm really busy, but I really want to create more space. I also want to put my TBR in a separate place. So I'm just going to have to see what I want to do with that. What books have you bought in the last couple of months? Which ones did you really like? Do you have any recommendations to me? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and bye.